Hey, what's up? This is Brandon Simmons from BrandonSimmons.biz, and this is my weekly video blog called Bullheaded, a review of the Houston Texans news, as well as a preview of the upcoming game matchups. So, this week, after a 0-2 start, the Texans are going to go on the road to face the Jacksonville Jaguars in a borderline panic, must-win temperature check game. So, I'm going to get into all of that on what they need to do to get a win off that game. First, let me give a recap over last week's game. Unfortunately, I have to because that's part of the show. So, um, Texans played the Bucks Monday Night Football this past Monday as a home opener in the dreaded first game of the dreaded Monday Night doubleheader, according to social media. And it was, a last minute, damn near last second loss, if you will. Last minute loss, 20-19, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Uh, Gave up a rushing touchdown at the very final moments of the game. And so here's a couple of my takeaways because there's a lot, obviously, a lot of things said about this game. But here's my takeaways from this game. Um, to me, I felt like that Texans, just the entire team, was kind of absent. Specifically, the offense, obviously, and I'll get to them. But they were just absent after that first drive until the fourth quarter. So, first drive, they opened up and, they had a couple big plays. Nick Chubb, he had the 22-yard catch and run on the screen pass. Nico Collins, Stroud threw a touchdown to Nico Collins to go up 7-0 on the first drive of the game. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, things kind of they got a little bit shaky, to be honest with you. Defense came out and they gave up a touchdown pass. Um, Next drive, Texans, they got a field goal, things like that. That was good, obviously, but defense, they just they gave up another. Defense comes back out, gives up another touchdown. So Bucks go 14-10, and that was kind of the thing from like after that first drive all the way up until the middle of the fourth quarter. Defense, they cleaned up the act a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Anderson got a sack on one of the plays. Daniel Hunter got a sack within that time frame. But it seems like the offense just could not capitalize on that. And so it wasn't until the block punt um, in the fourth quarter where things just kind of really took a turn and took a shift. Um, you know, the it just really kind of took a turn and took a shift. The block punt, and the offense scores a field goal off of that, and then the defense comes back out, forces a they forces a yeah, excuse me, the defense comes back out. They force another punt, and then Jalen Noel comes back with a 50-yard punt return. You know what I'm saying? That set up Nick Chubb for the 25-yard touchdown for us to actually take the lead for the first time since the first quarter. But alas, it just was not enough. So that was my thing. Yeah, I just don't think the team as a the offense just I'm not even gonna put it on the offense. I don't think the team as a whole really came together to just make plays to just dominate. Because had the off, well, you know what, had the offense been a little bit more active from the first quarter, between the first quarter and the fourth quarter, they would have had a chance to get the lead and capitalize on that, but they didn't. Um, as far as the defense goes, I thought they were decent. Um, they obviously held Tampa Bay. They didn't let Tampa Bay go crazy with the scoring, uh, but they still they still gave up 169 yards. They just could not stop the run. It's only fitting that they gave up a rushing touchdown as the game-winning touchdown. Um, as far as like tackles, which is the one thing that stood out to me, just the missed tackles. They missed a lot of tackles in this game, and I didn't pick up the stat on how many they missed because I don't know if that's somewhere. I don't know where I would find that stat, but they missed a lot. You know what I'm saying? Just based off the eye test. And to me, I feel like last week when they were playing when I did last week when I did my preview for week two, when I was doing the game recap for week one, I mentioned that they had a lot of big hits in that Rams game. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like in this game, they were trying to repeat that. The problem is when you try to go after those big hits, sometimes you might end up having a miss because you just might have a missed tackle because you're not using proper technique a couple times, and so I think that might have been the issue is why they had so many missed tackles in this game. They just weren't using proper techniques, and so you might have seen like a lot of broken tackles, or they just might have completely missed. You know what I'm saying? Uh, the ball carrier and a play. Like I wish I could have kept count of how many times they missed players in the backfield. That was the crazy part. Like, and I don't know if that was just missed tackling or just blocking, on good blocking on the Bucks part, but there was quite a few plays. It had to have been at least 5 plays that they could have stopped in the backfield, but they just didn't do it, because of just bad angling or whatever. So um, that was my thing about that. The defense, they just need to work on their tackling. Overall, to wrap this up, the game was winnable. I mean, obviously they were in a position. They came together that those moments in the fourth quarter. They had the momentum, um, and sometimes you'll see it a lot of times in any sport. A team probably didn't play their best game as a whole, but when it comes to that fourth quarter, those moments late in the game where they just kind of turn something on, to just take over. Um, Sometimes those moments are just unbeatable and just trump anything that happens throughout the game. So that's how I see it. They could have won that game. A lot of people say like, oh, they let Chubb run so they can get the ball back and blah 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 blah. I could see how that argument is something, but at the same time, like they were still in a position to actually go in and win and what I'm saying, Uh, put points on the board for that. They were down 14-13, and what I'm saying, they just went and got yeah, they just went and got that. They just went and made that play. So easily they could have got the field goal, but probably would have took more time out the clock. I don't know. They went and got the play that they needed to get. So and then even with that, that 4th and 10 play with Baker Mayfield, when he converts for that, that is a crazy like how do you give that up? And watching watching that play again, like that entire defense seemed like they were all in on him. They had to have been like 6 or 7 guys like ready to crush Baker Mayfield at that moment. And all of a sudden he just slithers out from this small opening and he slithers right past Tua Toto, and we give up the fourth down conversion for that, and it extends the drive. So uh, like I said, it was a winnable game. It's just too many mistakes, and you can't have the mistakes in those moments. You have them in in the moments I mentioned, the second and third quarter, where what I'm saying, things are, you know, I kind of you can still make things stable before the game is over. That's might be fine, but when you make those mistakes in the fourth quarter, when the game is on the line, like that's just double costly. Like the stakes are extra high for that. So you're gonna pay for that. So that was my review of the game from this past week, from week 2. Um, a lot of the reactions, once again, it prompted me to do a mini review of the season. So with just 2 games in, it's just some things that I kind of had on my mind. Uh, based on inspired by everybody's reactions uh, to what's been going on these first 2 games of the year. So first off, I, I just I think that a lot of people had, not just me, but a lot of people have questions about what has actually changed. You know what I'm saying? Last year, the biggest issue was the offensive line, the pass protection. What has actually changed from last year to this year? We fired a whole offensive coordinator. Mind you, an offensive coordinator that was, instrumental in our franchise quarterback having one of the better rookie seasons we've seen in the last few years. But we fired him on the premise that he wasn't getting it done as far as like coaching the O line and getting pass protection done. But now we're starting off 2 games with the same issues. Stroud's been sacked 3 times, and in each of these two games. So what has really changed? You know what I'm saying? It's things that are really kind of that you kind of have to ask. And it's not just the O line. There's other complaints going on about the offense. A lot of people want uh, Jalen Smith or Jalen Higgins and Jay Noel. They want Jay Noel and Jay Higgins to actually get some playing time in this game. And they say they've been impressed with how they've been playing, especially the Noel having that punt return. So. Um, that's that's understandable. You want to see these rookies get more burn, especially when uh, two of our receivers have been out. Guys that are supposed to two veteran guys that are supposed to come make an immediate impact. You need something to kind of hold us over, especially when you draft somebody that high. So it's really a question about what has changed, what has become improving for this Texans team. We traded Larry Tunsil. A lot of people had stuff to say about him as far as like his false starts and probably about his attitude or demeanor. You know what I'm saying? But that's gone now. We traded him. Now we got some new blood in there. So how are we using that? Second thing. Oh, and also to go back to the game, I kind of tie into what has actually changed in terms of like the pass protection. Dare Agumbawale, man, he had two huge letdowns as far as like pass protection goes. You know what I'm saying? And they both ended up becoming like negative plays that cost us. So that's how I just want to throw that out there as far as like letting that be known. Um, but yeah, just to wrap up, like what has actually changed, and with this offense, uh, it's starting off bad, obviously with the line, and you kind of see the stats a little bit. With 25th in passing, 20th in rushing, 30th in points scored. So, whatever has changed, it has to come change now. It has to come change for the better immediately. Um, so the panic, another thing, the panic is not justified at all, but it's welcome. You know what I'm saying? So people were panicking after week one. Let's get it straight. Every week, a coach got fired this year. So, a coach got fired, a player got traded, CJ Stroud got benched. It's been happening since week one this year. And so, to me personally, it's too early to panic, but it's justified. You know what I'm saying? Like this team, there's high hopes that's been brought in for this team. Um, they made some, pretty solid draft picks, um, for wide receiver, for offensive line. So the expectations are going to be there. This is a team, this is a rookie, this is a team that made the playoffs with a rookie quarterback his first year, and he came back his second year and made the playoffs again. You know what I'm saying? So it's a team with a lot of expectations. You know what I'm saying? And especially where the issue expectations on where the problem area was from last year, which is the O line. So, um, and panic is not justified, but it's welcomed. It's you know what I'm saying? Like it's welcome. Like everybody's frustrated right now because we want to see the results. You know what I'm saying? Like we get it. It's a new OC. It's a new O line at this position, that position. But the fans still want to see the results. You know what I'm saying? They want to be like, hey, there's no way that this could be, what I'm saying, what's supposed to be an improvement. It doesn't look like an improvement. Almost looks like a regression. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're ready. Texas fans, we ready for the results, man. That's it. Like, put some results, and I get it. Like I said, from week one to week two, you saw the improvement. Hell, they didn't even score a touchdown in week one, but week two, you know what I'm saying, they got two of them. You know what I'm saying? So definitely looking forward to the improvement for this weekend. So with that being said, injury report. Biggest news on the injury report: Christian Kirk and Bernard and Braxton Berrios. They did return to practice this week. So it's going to be pretty interesting. Let's see. Yes. So yeah, it's gonna be so yeah, they did return to practice and both look like they're good to go for this week. So um, looking forward to seeing how they're going to be implemented in this offense. I think it's going to be very important that Kirk and and Barrios get some play. Barrios might see him more on the punt return, kick return type duties. Kirk, I definitely see him being worked into this offense. Uh, I think it's going to help as far as like giving a variety of routes for Stroud to kind of look to because a lot of these sacks that Stroud is taking or hits that he's taking, he's actually looking down the field, for like a deeper route, and that pass rush they just coming. So they're not they're not really waiting on him to actually find an open receiver. You know what I'm saying? So I think with Kirk being in here, it's gonna hopefully he gets implemented as far as like running quicker routes. He has the speed to do that, and well, he has the speed for like more specifically like yak yards. So if he catches something real quick, he can hopefully break it off and what I'm saying, take it to the house or take it for a big play. So definitely I can see that happening with Kirk and giving CJ that option. And maybe the same for Barrios. We'll see how it goes. And maybe they'll just work in these rookies as well, Noel and Higgins, one of these plays doing kind of the same thing. So we'll see how it goes. But yes, Barrios and Kirk are back. With that being said, with that being said, Texans are whew, oh boy. Been a rough 2 weeks. But yes, Texans are going on the road, taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. And look, Jacksonville's been doing their thing. Uh, 1-1 at this point. Lost last week to the Cincinnati Bengals, but it is what it is. They got a pretty solid team. They got Brian Thomas in his second year. Travis Hunter, that first round pick this year, plays cornerback and wide receiver for those who have been under a rock. Uh, you know what I'm saying? He's that dual position guy. And also Travis Etienne and also Trevor Lawrence. So, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be a real interest. It's going to be it's not going to be an easy game for the Texans at all. Like, yeah, it's Jacksonville, and if we beaten Jacksonville, probably a way better Jacksonville team than what we're going to be facing on Sunday. Um, but yeah, it's still not going to be an easy game to win. So here's some things that the Texans can do to actually make sure they get that win. So number one, make Travis Etienne a focal point. So this season he's averaging 7 yards per rush. Kind of early to name my stats after 2 games, but it's kind of serious. Uh, Averaging 7 yards a rush, and he had 143 in week 2. On top of that, they just traded Saint Bixby, so they got a couple younger guys right behind them. Don't know if they're rookies or not, but um, you know what I'm saying? He's obviously the main focal point in this run game. And so he'll get things moving. They'll definitely try to get him the ball as early and often as possible. So definitely want to make him a focal point. In addition to him, also look out for Brian Thomas and however they use Travis Hunter. So Travis Hunter, he's definitely supposed to be playing. I'm not sure how much he's been playing it this current season, but he's definitely going to be in plans to be used as a cornerback and a wide receiver. So should that be this game where he's kind of like on some major full time duty, we're playing both. I would definitely kind of test the waters with him on the cornerback side and see how tired what I'm saying he can really get, and just wear him down, and vice versa on the offensive side. See how um, just kind of see how tired he can get, how he can be worked on the offensive side of the football, but definitely on the defensive side to wear him down offensively and keep him off his game. Uh, Defense, they have to improve tackling. So I mentioned it in the game recap. The defense just has to improve how they tackle the ball carrier. Part of that is just basics and fundamentals. When I talked about them in the Rams, they were making, what I'm saying, big hits, and then week 2 come around, they still want to make those big hits. That's cool, what I'm saying, if you get that, every once in a while, but you can also hit the ball carrier hard if you use basics and fundamentals as far as like wrapping them up. So don't go for the big highlight hit. You know what I'm saying? Just go for a simple tackle, and what I'm saying, just kind of, just go for a simple tackle, and it's going to stop a lot of big plays and keep that score manageable. You know what I'm saying? Another close game. So, um, I'm pretty sure you would love to have Jacksonville in a close game, but or more likely a blowout. But you know what I'm saying? It's definitely making those tackles is going to stop a lot of big plays from happening. Um, and finally, this is a much needed game. This is a temperature check for this team. It couldn't have came in the right time. 2 straight losses to open up the season. Um, it's going to be a lot of questions as to how good this team is going to be. Does this team have heart? You know what I'm saying? Things like that. So I think it's a much needed game that's going to show that, hey, this team can actually do this. They can actually, what I'm saying, go out here and win. They can actually compete. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's really going to boil down to. Like, how much can this team compete? Because, week 6 is the bye week, and that's coming around pretty soon. So, so once week 6 gonna get here, it's a little bit before the halfway point. So you're gonna have quite a bit of a ways to go before you reach the postseason. So um, what you want to do is, you're gonna have quite a bit of ways to go before you reach the postseason. So what you want to do is make sure that you're locked in, you're tapped in for this year. You're gonna have a long, long way before you reach the end and possibly get the shot to be at the top. So definitely treat this as a temperature heat check type game, just to check, like, what I'm saying, the heart, courage that you possess as a competitor. Simple as that. So so just to recap, Travis Etienne, make him a focal point alongside Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter. Defense, improve your tackling, focus on the basics and fundamentals, and you can stop a lot of big plays and keep that score manageable if you do that. And also, treat this game like a temperature check. You know what I'm saying? Really just take inventory of like where you are heart wise, where you are mentally, and just kind of like, what I'm saying, just really go out there and just give it your all. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. Just give it your all, and let them know that you never lost that heart. So yeah, that's all I got for y'all this week. I'm Brandon Simmons from BrandonSimmons.biz. If you're watching this video on YouTube, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that share button as well. Leave a comment. You know what I'm saying? Tell me how you feel about the Texans after 2 winless games. If you're watching this on Facebook, like my page, um, facebook.com/BrandonBlog. Like this video for sure. Comment on this video what you think about the first 2 winless games of the Texans, or the first 2 games of the year for the Texans being winless, and click that share button, and ask your friends too. So with that being said, I'm Brandon Simmons from BrandonSimmons.biz. Holla black.